Hey guys, so today is Q&A day.
Thank you guys for all the great questions you sent in, loads of interesting subjects. We could actually make a video on most of these questions on their own.
Okay, so we'll get straight into the questions, and the first one is from Katrina E. Hobbs from Instagram, and she's asking what made us want to travel in a camper van. For me, ever since being a kid, we used to go on caravan and van holidays with my parents, and I actually lived in a caravan when I was about, I don't know, 11 or 12 years old. I chose to live in the caravan, small caravan outside the house, so it was always kind of like a thing for me growing up. And then when we went to Australia and got our first camper van, that was when it was really, just awesome.
Yeah, for me it was when we went to Australia. We travelled around Asia for nearly a year before that, backpacking around.
Once we got to Australia, let's buy a van, cheap accommodation.
And then just fell in love with that, because you have a few of the comforts of home kind of thing, all your stuff with you, but you've got the freedom to travel around. And we lived and worked in Australia for like a year and a half. Yeah. And it was just a perfect way to travel. And
of course, the money you save, not paying for accommodation, it was just a no-brainer for us. So that's why we choose to travel in a camper van. Katrina has also asked, along with Darren Hunt, how long have we been together and where did we meet? Also, Croye on YouTube also asked, where did we meet? So we have been together for almost 15 years, actually. 15 years in October, is it?
Married for nearly 5, and together for 15 years in October.
Yes.
Long time.
So a long time. Where did we meet? We met in Spain.
Yeah, basically Sarah was living out here. I came out here to visit a mutual friend who I work with in the UK, and then just fell in love. With Spain. I mean, sorry, with
the sunshine. So Darren Hunt has also asked, who proposed?
That was me. After a couple of years of being together, I thought I best propose to make sure I kept hold of her. She's a keeper.
Even though we didn't get married for like 10 years, we got engaged after 2 years about.
Okay, so the next question is from Paul Rigsby on Facebook, and he asks, how did we get to be so cool? Thanks, Paul, great question. And he just wants to know basically a bit of background, so age, profession, schooling, reasons for becoming expats. Well, the age,
well, we are between 35 and 40. Nick is 2 years older than me, and
it's a little puzzle you got to solve.
That's all we're saying.
That's all we're saying. Professions and background, schooling, that sort of thing. Schooling.
Well, I left school at 16, got a job, didn't go to college, didn't go to university, anything like that. Not really a career kind of girl.
Moved out here like 20 years ago, didn't you?
And I moved out to Spain when I was 19, so yes.
For me, it was school, college, uni, following a sort of artistic path. Ending up at uni doing like a media and graphics course. Freelance work for a little while, didn't get a job in graphics, and then hospitality and office work, customer services.
So the reason we became expats, like I said, I moved out here when I was 19. It was kind of like in school and stuff, I kind of always wanted to travel and live abroad, and the first time I went abroad, I just loved it so much, and that was kind of the goal, to get to a sunnier climate and make it work.
Basically, she hates the cold and bad weather, so that's the main reason. You don't
need too many reasons really to move from the UK to Spain, in my opinion.
I moved out here and became an expat because of her. No, I came out here, visited Spain, visited a friend, as I said before, and fell in love with the sun, the culture, the relaxed atmosphere, and I suppose I fell in love with her as well. So that's my reason.
Next question is from Becky Firth1 on Instagram. Do we have any background in filmmaking?
Yes, we do. Well, I kind of do. As I mentioned before, I studied media and graphic design at uni. Since leaving, I've done a few little projects, some of them paid, some of them not paid. I've always sort of carried on that, and then this channel's been brilliant. You know, putting my two main loves in life, apart from Sarah and the dogs, travel and filmmaking. You know, this is giving me the opportunity to make films on the adventures we're taking, so it's brilliant. From Gareth and David Adventure, their question from YouTube is, what do we do when we go out and leave the pups in the van? Do they bark or draw attention to us?
The thing is with the boys, when you're travelling on the road, we find that they are so exhausted the whole time. There's so many walks, there's so much fresh air, and we think they're quite happy to be left in the van. Before, or just in normal life, when we used to go down the supermarket or leave them in the house, they would make a racket. As we walked away, they would howl for us and they weren't happy at all. And then they would draw attention to themselves. But we find in the van, we put all the blinds and curtains up so it's nice and dark and nice and cool. We go off and they don't make any sound. They're just exhausted and quite happy, we think, to have a good sleep. From Carol Prentice on YouTube, some background on the dogs, where we got them and why. Okay, so the boys were abandoned as puppies and we found them in Spain when they were 5 weeks old. We've actually made a small video on this telling their story, so we'll pop a link to that in the description. And yes, basically we were out Christmas shopping 5 years ago and the Christmas shopping didn't last very long because we found the boys. They've been dumped in a industrial estate near a shopping centre, so we just bundled them up, wandered around trying to find out if anyone knew anything and took them home.
Now, we always planned to get dogs, but we were hoping to go travelling around South America backpacking, so we didn't want to get any quite so soon. But then when we found them, we just fell in love with them. So
life plans definitely changed, and for the better, because now we just couldn't live without them. Amy Morrissey Smith on YouTube has asked, what part of the UK are we from? Do we spend any extended time there? And do we have property there?
Well, I'm from a little town about 10 miles just outside Birmingham.
And I lived in North Wales before I came out to Spain. When I was younger, I was in Northampton, went to primary school there, but I was actually born in Lancashire. So a bit of a all over.
And yeah, we don't spend any extended time there, just like visits back to see family and friends. And we don't own a property there. We've got one here but not there. From Instagram and Rubites, why do we live in Spain? Cheap beer and tapas.
Today is a perfect example why we live in Spain. It's the end of February and it's just absolutely beautiful. It's just like a summer's day, and I think also the relaxed way of life over here.
How you live out here, it's just very tranquilo, very relaxed. You're not in the rat race, it's just, you know, it's just very easy going. Okay, so Derek D on YouTube asks how old we all are. Now, we've already answered how old we are. The dogs are both 5. And he also asks which country is our favourite and why Poland.
Favourite country? That's a difficult one. I can't really choose a favourite country at all. I mean, Slovenia was amazing. Italy, there's so much to see in Italy.
You also asked why Poland? Well, why not?
Why not Poland? Poland's a beautiful country. We've only seen a tiny bit of it as well, and we do plan to go back and see the north.
We want to see as much as Europe as possible, but it's nice going to countries which are less visited. Like when we're travelling around Asia, the first country we spent like 2 months in China, and that was the biggest adventure because it was far less travelled than, you know, other places we've been to.
Okay, so Darren Wilson on YouTube has asked, when we choose the locations to visit, what's the main factors that influence our decisions?
Good question, Daz. We prefer natural like sites and landscapes, so we choose, you know, the best pick of the bunch from each country. Mountains, lakes, rivers, waterfalls, hot springs. You can type into Google top 10 places, natural things to visit, or what we're interested in, just type it in. And then obviously cities, not into big, immense, built up modern cities.
But some cities are obviously unique for certain reasons.
To experience the culture. And on a similar subject to that,
Dino HF79 on YouTube has asked, what books and material do we use to plan the trip? including apps and websites, etc.?
So this is a really good question, and we've always used the Lonely Planet as a basis. That was while we're in Asia, and then for this trip as well, we've got a Lonely Planet for the whole of Europe, traveling on a shoestring. Now it is really good as a basis because it gives a history on the country, a bit of language, the geography, and you know, a lot of the highlights to go to. But unfortunately, the Lonely Planet is not really for van life, so it is mainly cities. You can't use that for everything. We also basically just use Google, type into Google, you know, the top 10 places to see, or top 10 natural attractions, or what we're interested in seeing. Type this in for a country, and then go from that, or Pinterest or Instagram, you know, just looking at pictures of a country and it comes up with the highlights. So that's a good basis. Yeah,
social media is really good because if you're following people on Instagram, for example, and they're doing a similar trip around Europe, you can sort of be cheeky and steal and be nosy into the places that they're going to and the pictures that they're putting up. The same on Facebook. And even watching other YouTubers' videos and seeing where they're going off on their travels.
Chris Jackerman on Facebook asks, do you get resentment from family for being away for so long?
Okay. Not really. Now, we live in Spain and none of our family live out here, so we're away from our family anyways. When we did do a big trip over to the other side of the world, over to Australia and New Zealand and Asia, we were away for 3 years.
From certain family members, they were like, when are you coming back? I think you've been away for long enough. I don't think there's too much. I mean, I think some friends or family could watch our videos a little bit more than they do and comment. No names.
It's because they resent you and hate you.
No, so there's, yeah, not too much really. We can live with it, And the final question for today's video is from the Nerf Family UK on YouTube. And they ask, what is the best/worst part about living in a van? And do we miss being in a house?
I'll start with the best part. The best part is definitely the freedom and the ability to go wherever you want at any given time, to park up wherever you want. That's definitely the best.
Yeah, forever changing views out the window, and just whenever you open the door, you could be anywhere. You know, it's just constantly changing environment. The worst part, there's not many.
There's not really many, is there really? I mean, going to the toilet, we have got a porta potty, but we didn't use it. We will use it on the next trip. So it was a bit tricky finding places. Sometimes it can be a little bit of a pain, constantly thinking where you're going to stay for the night. Again, a lot of this is exciting.
Most of the time you do get the opportunity to park in amazing places, lakeside or on the beachfront, or stunning view out in the countryside on your own. But occasionally, you know, more so in towns and cities, you're not always in a relaxed place that you're comfortable with. So on the odd occasion, that's the worst part, and it's something you do have to think about every night.
Yeah. Apart from that,
well, I've got another one. If you travel around in an old van, you do have the worry that it could break down and then you are stuck.
Yeah, so that is on your mind. We kind of got used to that though. I think as time went on and the van didn't break down and nothing bad did happen really, you just kind of relaxed. What was the other part of the question?
And the other part, the second part is, do we miss being in a house?
As far as when we've been away living in a van for 7 months, or when we were in Australia for almost 2 years, did we miss house living? Absolutely not. We didn't even think about our house at all. I think it was like a couple of months into the last trip and I said to Nick, I said, do you know what? I just don't think about the house at all. It's like we haven't got a house anymore. And that is the truth.
You just soon adapt, don't you? We're like chameleons. So, you know, you're living in a house, you get on the road, after a couple of days, you've just forgotten about the house, you've adapted your new surroundings.
Completely. In fact, the other way round, and it was like a couple of days getting back to the house and I was missing the van. So the other way round, it was, missing the van, but missing the house, it didn't really happen.
Only times you do miss the house, when you've had one too many the night before. The next day, you feel a little bit worse for wear.
I guess it would be nicer to have more space. And
your comforts and your nice bed.
But that doesn't happen very often.
No.
Because we don't drink that much.
No, not at all.
But anyway guys, that wraps up this video for today. There's another part of the Q&A video coming out probably tomorrow or the next day, because we did have quite a few questions. So yes, we'll see you in the next video.
Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give us a thumbs up and hit that like button below.
If you haven't subscribed to our channel, then please do, and keep the comments coming because we absolutely love to hear from you.
And we'll see you in the next video.